The Sacred Mission. The medical convoy moved through space like a chain of white pearls against the black void. 3 ships, each bearing the universal Red Cross symbol that every civilized species recognized and respected. The lead vessel, Mercy's Hand, carried Dr. Sarah Chen and her team of volunteer medics toward the outer colonies of the Kepler system, where a devastating plague had swept through mining settlements. Dr. Chen stood on the bridge, reviewing supply manifests with Captain Torres. 47 medical personnel aboard their ship alone, with 2 escort vessels carrying vaccines, surgical equipment, and emergency supplies worth millions of credits, all of it donated freely by Earth's medical consortium. "Doctor, we're receiving a transmission from the Zephyrian patrol fleet," Captain Torres announced, his voice carrying a note of concern. The bridge fell silent except for the steady hum of the ship's engines. Dr. Chen frowned. The Zephyrians controlled this sector, but medical convoys operated under universal protection treaties. No military force in known space had ever interfered with a clearly marked humanitarian mission. The Red Cross wasn't just a symbol, it was sacred law. "Put them through, Captain." The view screen flickered to life, revealing Commander Vextar of the Zephyrian Empire. His reptilian features were arranged in what might have been a sneer, his yellow eyes cold and calculating. Behind him, the bridge of his destroyer gleamed with weapon displays. "Human vessel, you are ordered to submit to immediate inspection. Our intelligence suggests you carry military contraband disguised as medical supplies." Dr. Chen stepped forward. "Commander, I am Dr. Sarah Chen of the Earth Medical Corps. We are operating under Article 7 of the Galactic Medical Protection Treaty. Our ships carry only medical supplies bound for plague victims in the Kepler colonies. We request safe passage as guaranteed by interstellar law." Vextar's claws clicked against his command console. "Humans are new to this galaxy. Perhaps you don't understand how things work here. The Zephyrian Empire maintains order in this sector. We will inspect your cargo." "Sir, with respect, medical convoys are immune from military inspection. Our supplies are desperately needed by dying civilians. Every hour we delay costs lives." The Zephyrian commander's eyes narrowed. For months, human traders had been disrupting established power structures with their strange concepts of free trade and individual rights. Several Zephyrian client states had begun questioning the Empire's authority. These upstart humans needed to learn their place. "Your treaty papers mean nothing here, human. Prepare to be boarded or face the consequences." Captain Torres moved closer to Dr. Chen. "Doctor, we should comply. We have nothing to hide." But Dr. Chen understood what was happening. This wasn't about smuggling or security. This was about power, about showing the galaxy that humans could be bullied like any other species. The Zephyrians wanted to establish dominance, and they'd chosen a medical convoy as their target because they thought it would be defenseless. "Commander Vextar, I implore you to reconsider. These supplies will save thousands of lives. Children are dying while we speak." Vextar's response was to gesture to his weapons officer. "Perhaps humans need a demonstration of Zephyrian resolve. Target their lead ship's engines. Disable them for boarding." Dr. Chen's blood ran cold. "Commander, this is a protected medical vessel. Any attack would violate." The transmission cut. Alarms began screaming throughout Mercy's Hand as sensors detected weapon locks from 3 Zephyrian destroyers. Captain Torres barked orders to his crew, but there was nowhere to run. Medical ships carried no weapons, minimal shielding, and were built for efficiency, not combat. "All hands, brace for impact," Torres shouted. The first plasma bolt struck their port engine. The ship shuddered, emergency lights flickering as power systems struggled to compensate. Dr. Chen grabbed a support rail as the deck tilted beneath her feet. "Damage report," Torres called. "Engine 1 is offline, sir. We're venting atmosphere from Deck 3. Medical Bay 7 has lost pressure." Dr. Chen activated the ship's emergency beacon, broadcasting on all frequencies. "Mayday, Mayday. This is Dr. Sarah Chen aboard the medical vessel Mercy's Hand. We are under attack by Zephyrian forces in violation of galactic medical protection treaties. We are a humanitarian convoy carrying medical supplies to plague victims. Request immediate assistance. The second plasma bolt struck their starboard side, punching through the hull like paper. The ship groaned as structural beams buckled. In the medical bays, carefully stored vaccines and antibiotics scattered in the chaos. Months of preparation destroyed in seconds. Commander Vextar's voice crackled over the comm system. "Surrender now, humans, and your deaths will be quick." Dr. Chen looked around the bridge at her crew. Young doctors who had volunteered for this mission, nurses who had left comfortable positions on Earth to help strangers on distant worlds, people who had dedicated their lives to healing, now facing death because they tried to save lives. This is Dr. Sarah Chen to all ships. If we don't survive this, make sure the galaxy knows what happened here. Medical personnel died today because one species decided that power was more important than mercy. The third plasma bolt struck their reactor core. The explosion was visible from 3 star systems away. Of the 47 souls aboard Mercy's Hand, only 3 escaped in emergency pods. Dr. Elena Vasquez, Communications Officer James Park, and medical technician David Walsh drifted in the wreckage for 16 hours before being picked up by a passing freight hauler. The other 2 medical ships in the convoy were captured, their crews imprisoned, their supplies confiscated. The Zephyrians announced they had stopped a human smuggling operation, claiming the destroyed ship had been carrying weapons to rebel forces. But they had made a critical error. They had attacked healers. News of the attack reached Earth through encrypted channels within 48 hours. The survivor testimonies were broadcast across every human world, then spread throughout the galaxy via quantum relay networks. The images were stark and undeniable. 3 medical ships displaying universal protection symbols, their wreckage scattered across space, and the cold voice of Commander Vextar ordering the attack. Admiral Marcus Webb, commander of Earth's defense forces, stood before the United Earth Council as the footage played on screens around the chamber. The assembly was silent, representatives from every human world watching in horror as Dr. Chen's final transmission echoed through the halls. When the recording ended, Webb spoke quietly. 47 medical personnel died yesterday. Doctors, nurses, technicians, people who took oaths to heal, to do no harm. They died carrying vaccines to save alien children they'd never met. He paused, letting the weight of those words settle over the assembly. The Zephyrian Empire believes this incident will be forgotten. They expect diplomatic protests, economic sanctions, perhaps a formal complaint to the Galactic Council. They think humans are weak because we choose to heal rather than harm. Webb activated a holographic display showing Earth's military assets, industrial capacity, and population centers. Numbers began scrolling past. Ship construction facilities, weapons manufacturing plants, reserve personnel counts. They're about to learn that humans have a unique trait among galactic species. When someone attacks our healers, our teachers, our children, when they violate the sacred trust of medical neutrality, we don't just respond. We respond with everything we have. The chamber erupted in discussion as representatives realized what Webb was proposing. This wouldn't be a limited military action or a police operation. This would be total mobilization. Admiral, called Representative Kim from the Luna colony, the Zephyrian Empire controls 12 star systems. They have hundreds of warships, millions of troops. Are you suggesting we go to war with an entire galactic power over one incident? Webb's expression hardened. Representative Kim, they didn't just attack one medical ship. They attacked the very idea that some things are sacred in war. They attacked the principle that healers should be protected. If we let this stand, every medical mission, every humanitarian effort, every act of compassion in this galaxy becomes a target. He gestured to the holographic display. Earth's industrial capacity is already shifting to wartime production. Our allies in the Centauri Federation have pledged support. The Andromedan Republic has offered their advanced sensor networks. Even the isolationist Vegan Confederacy has condemned the attack. But Admiral, pressed Representative Santos from Mars, the cost in human lives will be nothing compared to the cost of living in a galaxy where mercy is seen as weakness, Webb interrupted, where medical ships can be destroyed with impunity, where healers are treated as combatants. The vote was unanimous. Operation Healing Hand was authorized with the full backing of humanity's combined resources, not just military forces, but industrial capacity, technological innovation, and the unified will of 12 billion humans who had just learned that their healers, their best and brightest, had been murdered for trying to save lives. As the council session ended, Webb received reports from across human space. Shipyards were canceling civilian contracts to build warships. Reserve forces were mobilizing. Most importantly, medical schools were graduating emergency classes of combat medics, healers who would follow human forces not to wage war, but to demonstrate that even in war, humans would never stop being healers. The message being prepared for the Zephyrian Empire was simple. You attacked our healers. Now you will learn what happens when you make humans choose between mercy and justice. The answer is both. When healers become warriors. 3 months had passed since the destruction of Mercy's Hand, and Commander Vexstar had almost forgotten about the incident. The Zephyrian Empire had weathered the initial diplomatic protests exactly as expected. The Galactic Council had issued a formal censure, which Vexstar's superiors had dismissed with contempt. A few trade routes had been temporarily disrupted, but commerce always resumed when credits were involved. The humans had been surprisingly quiet. Vexstar had expected more dramatic posturing, perhaps a retaliatory strike against a Zephyrian patrol. Instead, there had been only silence from Earth's territories. Their ambassadors had withdrawn from several diplomatic posts. Their trade ships had rerouted around Zephyrian space. But otherwise, life continued as normal. Standing on the bridge of his flagship, the Conquest of Stars, Vexstar reviewed fleet deployments across the Zephyrian Empire's 12 star systems. His forces controlled 847 warships, 23 major military installations, and defense networks protecting over 200 worlds. The humans had perhaps 200 military vessels scattered across their small territory. The mathematical advantage was overwhelming. Commander, his communications officer announced, we're receiving priority transmissions from all our border stations. They report massive sensor contacts approaching from human space. Vexstar's claws clicked against his command console. How many ships? Sir, the reports are inconsistent. Station Zeta 7 reports 200 contacts. Station Beta 12 reports 150. But the signatures don't match known human vessel classes. Before Vexstar could respond, his tactical officer's station erupted in alarms. Commander, emergency transmission from the Outer Rim Defense Fleet. Admiral Korath reports they're under attack by unknown vessels. He's requesting immediate reinforcement. The view screen flickered to life, showing Admiral Korath's panicked face from the bridge of his dreadnought. Behind him, explosions lit up the tactical displays. They came out of nowhere. Korath shouted over the chaos. Some kind of stealth technology we've never seen. They're not targeting our ships directly. They're hitting our weapons systems, our engines, disabling rather than destroying. But Commander, their precision is impossible. Every shot hits exactly where they intend. The transmission cut to static. Vexstar stared at the dead screen, his mind racing. The humans couldn't have developed advanced military technology so quickly. Their industrial base was too small, their military too inexperienced. Yet reports were flooding in from across the Empire. Zephyrian fleets were being systematically disabled by forces that struck with surgical precision and vanished before reinforcements could arrive. Sir, his intelligence officer announced, we're receiving a transmission on all frequencies. It's addressed to you personally. The main screen activated, revealing the human woman in a crisp military uniform. Her insignia identified her as Admiral Rebecca Hayes of Earth Defense Command. Behind her stood a tactical display showing the locations of every Zephyrian military installation in real time. "Commander Vextar," Admiral Hayes began, her voice calm and professional. "I am Admiral Hayes, representing the unified human response to your attack on our medical convoy. 3 months ago, you destroyed a ship carrying healers to save lives. Today, we begin our response." Vextar leaned forward in his command chair. "Admiral, your pathetic fleet cannot threaten the Zephyrian Empire. We control 12 star systems. Our forces outnumber yours 4-1. Hayes smiled slightly. "Commander, you're thinking about this wrong. This isn't a war between fleets. This is a surgical procedure, and we're very good at surgery." As if on cue, alarms began screaming throughout Vextar's ship. His weapons officer reported system failures across their primary gun batteries. Their engines sputtered and died. Life support remained functional, but their ability to fight or flee had been eliminated in a matter of seconds. "How?" Vextar demanded. 3 months, Commander. 3 months for our computer specialists to map every system in your network. 3 months for our engineers to design countermeasures for your technology. 3 months for our strategists to plan the systematic dismantling of your military capacity. Admiral Hayes gestured to her tactical display. "Right now, every major Zephyrian military installation is being disabled. Not destroyed, disabled. Your weapons are offline. Your ships are dead in space. Your communications are severed. But your life support systems remain fully functional." Vextar's claws scraped against his armrests. "You're making a grave mistake, human. The Empire will not tolerate this aggression." "The Empire no longer has a choice in the matter," Hayes replied. "But here's what makes this interesting. Commander, follow-up vessels are arriving at each disabled installation. Care to guess what they're carrying?" Before Vextar could respond, his sensors detected new contacts approaching his position. 3 ships, moving slowly and broadcasting universal medical signals. Ships identical in design to the ones he had destroyed 3 months ago. "Medical teams, Commander. Doctors, nurses, emergency technicians. The same people you attacked are now coming to treat your wounded soldiers, to provide medical care for anyone injured during our operations." Vextar watched in confusion as the medical ships docked with his disabled vessel. Through internal monitors, he could see human medical personnel boarding his ship, immediately beginning to treat Zephyrian crew members who had been injured when their systems failed. "I don't understand," Vextar admitted. Admiral Hayes leaned forward. "That's the difference between us, Commander. You see medical personnel as targets of opportunity. We see them as sacred. You attack healers because you think it shows strength. We protect healers because we know it shows humanity." Reports flooded in from across the Zephyrian Empire. Every military installation had been simultaneously disabled with precision that defied comprehension. But in each case, human medical teams had immediately followed, providing aid to wounded soldiers, emergency care for injured civilians, and critical supplies for planets whose defense grids had been shut down. The systematic nature of the operation was breathtaking. Human forces had identified every single military asset in Zephyrian space, categorized them by threat level and strategic importance, and executed coordinated strikes across 12 star systems simultaneously. But they had done so while maintaining medical neutrality, treating enemy wounded with the same care they would show their own. "Your forces are defeated, Commander," Admiral Hayes continued. "Your military capacity has been eliminated. Your ability to threaten civilians, to attack medical convoys, to project power beyond your worlds, all of it is gone. But your people will live. Your wounded will be healed. Your civilians will be protected." Vextar slumped in his command chair, the full scope of his defeat becoming clear. "What happens now?" "Now you watch," Hayes replied. "You watch human medical teams save Zephyrian lives. You watch our engineers repair your civilian infrastructure while leaving your military installations permanently disabled. You watch us demonstrate that strength without mercy is just brutality, but mercy with strength is justice." Over the following weeks, Vextar was forced to witness something unprecedented in galactic history. Human forces maintained complete control over Zephyrian space, but their occupation looked nothing like traditional conquest. Medical ships moved freely between worlds, providing aid wherever it was needed. Human engineers repaired civilian power grids and communication networks, while carefully avoiding any systems that could be used for military purposes. The message was unmistakable. Humanity could destroy the Zephyrian Empire whenever they chose, but they would never stop being healers. The final humiliation came when Vextar was transferred to a human medical facility for treatment of injuries sustained during his capture. The doctor who treated him was Dr. Elena Vasquez, one of the 3 survivors of Mercy's Hand. "You were on that ship," Vextar said as she checked his vital signs. "Yes," Dr. Vasquez replied simply. "I watched my colleagues die because you decided medical personnel were legitimate targets." Vextar expected hatred, revenge, some form of retribution. Instead, Dr. Vasquez treated his injuries with the same professional care she would show any patient. "Why?" he asked. Dr. Vasquez paused in her work. "Because that's what healers do, Commander. We heal. Even when it's hard. Even when the patient has caused us pain. That's what makes us different from you." 6 months after the attack on Mercy's Hand, a new medical convoy departed from Earth. 50 ships this time, carrying advanced medical supplies and volunteer personnel to worlds throughout the galaxy. The convoy was escorted by the most advanced warships in human space, their message clear to any who might consider interference. The lead medical ship bore the name Mercy's Legacy. Dr. Elena Vasquez stood on its bridge as they approached their first destination, a Zephyrian colony world still recovering from the systematic dismantling of their empire's military forces. "Doctor," the ship's captain asked, "are you certain about this? Treating former enemies?" Dr. Vasquez smiled, thinking of her colleagues who had died trying to save alien lives. "Captain, the greatest victory over those who attack healers isn't revenge. It's proving that no attack, no matter how brutal, can stop us from healing." As Mercy's Legacy entered orbit around the Zephyrian world, its medical bays prepared to receive the first patients, Dr. Vasquez activated the ship's communication system. "This is Dr. Elena Vasquez of the Earth Medical Corps. We are a humanitarian convoy offering medical assistance to any who need it. We operate under universal medical protection, and we come in peace." The response from the planet's surface was immediate and overwhelming. Requests for medical assistance flooded their communications array, not just from Zephyrians, but from dozens of species throughout the sector who had heard about humanity's unique approach to warfare. They had learned that humans were dangerous not because they were ruthless, but because they were principled. They would fight with devastating effectiveness when their healers were threatened, but they would never stop being healers themselves. In the end, that was the most terrifying thing about humanity. Their capacity to wage war without losing their compassion, to achieve total victory while maintaining their moral authority. They had shown the galaxy that mercy and strength were not opposites, but partners in the most effective form of justice the universe had ever seen.